Welcome to That's What She Said, where we'll spill the tea on women empowerment in the Great Lakes Bay region with your host, Christiana Malacara.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of That's What She Said. Thank you. Thank you for being here today and taking the time out of your day to, frankly, listen to me, but more importantly, listen to empowering women from the region, and even more importantly, invest in yourself. When I get the feedback that I do and the views and the emails and the messages saying, this really touched my heart, or I'm going to share this with someone specifically, you're not just sharing that with the community. You're actually investing in yourself when you do that, and that's really exciting for me. One, it's kind of reiterating the fact that producer Jonathan Dent and myself are like, yeah, we got this. We're going to keep chugging along and doing this and telling these stories. But more importantly, it shows us that the community wants growth. And this is just one way that we're trying to contribute towards the growth in the future of the community in the Great Lakes Bay region. So my name is Christiana Malacara. Thank you for tuning in. One of the ways you can tune in is online. On the webs, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, WSGW 100.5 and 790 on the radio. And then on Spotify 24/7, like I say, pull it up when you're doing the dishes, turn it on in the car, and especially I think it helps me chug along when I have to do laundry. So with that being said, we're just going to dive into this episode of That's What She Said. I believe we're on episode I think it's 22. So this is really, really exciting. And as we close out the new year, we're exploring different ways on how to kind of structure the show coming up forward. So lastly, I'm going to say, if there's someone out there that has empowered you, or you are that empowering woman, shoot us an email, shoot us a message, and let us know who that is, so that way we can have that conversation in the new year. All right. So without further ado, I have two. This is the first time with two guests. I have two very special women here today, and both of them are starting the ripple effect in the community in very unique and different ways. But needless to say, they're a duo. And they also work individually here in the community, making a difference. So I would like to introduce Marcia and Laura. Thank you for coming on today, ladies. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having us.
This is exciting to me, to take part in what we're doing as a radio station, and I'll dig into that in a little bit, guys. But this is also exciting because we're hearing two perspectives of one story here. So, Marcia, could you introduce yourself and let us know let the community know how they would know you?
My name is Marcia Reeves, and I currently work for Rescue Ministries of Mid-Michigan. I've been there for approximately 25 years, and it's been a joy just to work in that area of ministry and community, because Rescue Ministry provides care for those individuals who have no homes. So we're working with homeless individuals, men, women, and children. But of course, I love that we get to empower women.
Where's the Rescue Ministries located?
Rescue Ministries, we actually have two locations. We have a location in Saginaw, which is City Rescue Mission on the corner of East Genesee and Burt. And we also have Good Samaritan Rescue Mission, which is in Bay City at 713 9th Street.
Thank you. 25, you said? 25
yes,
years.
I just started 25 years in October.
Wow. Well, congratulations.
Well, thank you.
Wow, that's okay. We're going to dive into that. Let me get to Laura here. Laura, can you introduce yourself and your relationship with Marcia and the Rescue Ministries?
I'm Laura, and I'm a little shy. I have been homeless off and on for some years, and the shelter has always taken me in and even given me chances when I've messed up. And I've just been Miss Marcia. She has been a big impact, and Miss Linda. They have been there to guide me and, just help me even when I didn't want the help. And they're a big part of where I'm at right now.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. So Marcia, can you can you share a little bit more about some of the services that the rescue ministry has, specifically the one in the Bay Area?
So in Bay City, we do the same. Actually, we have shelter for men, women, and children, but additionally, we do have services for youth. So we have what we call Samaritan Youth Services, and we provide shelter for youth ages 12 to 16, I believe, that can get emergency shelter. Then we have transitional housing for 16 years and up. And then we also have Labadee Lofts, which is for individuals who are young adults aging out of foster care. So those are the services we provide in Bay City.
And then what are the services in Saginaw?
In Saginaw, we have, of course, the shelters for men, women, and children as well. Both shelters, Bay City and Saginaw, provide shelter for veterans as well. And then in Saginaw, we have our Impact Designs ministry, where we help individuals get back on their feet after they've completed our Impact Shelter classes. We're able to assist them with furnishing their entire apartment. They find their location where they're going to reside, but we will come alongside them and help them furnish their apartment.
This is an entire spectrum of assistance,
Mm-hmm.
start to finish.
Yes.
All walks of life.
Yes.
And let's kind of dive into the walk of life
Sure.
of a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Where and that's what she said. We specifically target empowering women in by empowered women.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So the actions that we do have that ripple effect on the community. And what is it that the Rescue Ministries is doing specifically for women in each of these brackets?
So one of the things that just most recently, about I say a year and a half, we started our parenting, supportive parenting. And even though we have parents that are male, but our supportive parenting has really helped empower women. In those classes, they are assisted with nutrition, budgeting, things of that nature. So that has really, really helped a lot of our women. In Bay City, we are, of course, encouraging young women to be empowered by learning to live independently. Even at our transitional housing right now, we have 2 young ladies who are living there, and they can live there up to 18 months. So we're empowering them. We had a young mom who was considering maybe ending her pregnancy or having her child adopted. And she chose to keep that child because our staff came alongside her and empowered her on being a mom, and she's being a wonderful mom. So those are some of the things that we're doing. And then, of course, stories like Laura's, individuals who are having challenges with life itself, maybe they want a little more help. And so we can encourage them in-house, but if they need more additional help, we've partnered with Adult Teen Challenge. And so we're referring women there, and men. We do have the men, but I know we're talking about women today. And so Laura is the first candidate that came through our shelter first. We referred her to Adult Teen Challenge, and she's the first one that we referred that we've seen graduate. And now she's actually a helper at the house where she's living, and she's got her old job back. So that's empowerment right there.
That is a true start to finish testimony
Mhm.
right there. So with the program that you went through, Laura, what was one of the most rewarding or exciting components of that for you?
At the Teen Challenge?
Yes.
The most exciting thing is just changing my life around. I didn't used to know how to deal with my emotions. I was a big addict, and going there helped me to completely change my life. I have been sober for 14 months, and I never thought that day would come when I get upset, I'd be able to just go, okay, well, how am I going to deal with this? My brain doesn't go, oh, I need to go do something destructive. And I am very grateful for what these women have done for me in these places.
What were some of those tactics specifically that helped you kind of, helped you pivot your emotions and, be able to grasp how you felt and then, redirect that energy?
I think having people around me that were encouraging, like with positive things like God, and that you have to think about, like, just them being there for you nonstop, being there and
Mhm.
talking to you through it. And like, you can't just go run to your phone. You can't run to Facebook. You can't run to these things.
Mhm.
And it gave me the time and space to be able to change. They've done a lot for me. Like, I've been a mess for 25 years. So I'm very grateful for both of these programs.
Marcia, that community that Laura's talking about,
Mhm.
the staff and the team there, how many people are on that staff and team that are pouring into individuals?
I would say at Good Samaritan, we have for women's shelter, we have, and it's nonstop, morning, noon, night. We staff our shelters 24 hours a day. So I would say for each shift, maybe 3 staff members, and then the second shift, maybe 2, and then the night shift, 1 at each
Okay.
location. So that's how many we have. But we do have directors of these shelters that also oversee the shelter staff.
It's an
So we
entire
do.
village.
Oh yeah, we have a
You
village.
have a village
We
of
do. We
people.
do.
So is the Rescue Ministries faith-based?
It is. We are a faith-based organization, and that's our superpower, literally, because we're able to encourage people with the gospel. We're able to give them. Some have been going to church all their lives, but they may have strayed away a little bit. So when they come to Rescue Ministries at both locations, we have a chapel, and we have chapel speakers who volunteer. We have women that come in and minister to our women to encourage them. But then, in chapel services, like Christmas time, we're going to have Christmas music. We're going to have things that will just kind of lift their spirits just a little bit more. We have prayer partners that will come alongside them and kind of find out what's going on in their lives. The individuals who come through Rescue Ministries are dealing with a gamut of issues, from pregnancy loss to homelessness to eviction to a loss of a loved one. I mean, we've dealt with it all. Even delivering babies. We had 2 babies be delivered in shelter in my 25 years. So
Mm.
it's a lot that we are able to encourage women with.
That also is an entire spectrum that you've hit right here.
Mhm.
Has there been one more than the other? I guess is homelessness that thread that goes through all of it, or you're talking about you've lost a loved one, lost their job, lost a
Mhm.
child. What have you seen the most throughout your time?
Of course, the homelessness is what brings them there.
Okay.
But while they're there, we find out, this person is dealing with grief, because their child or their parent, died. We also find out once they're there, they did lose a child. We're finding out once they're there, they were evicted, they lost their job. So the homelessness is what brings them to us. And then once we're doing case management, then we find out there's more. Oh my goodness, there's more to their story.
So is the faith-based portion, does that start out on day one?
It does. Of course, whoever's doing the intake, they have the liberty of encouraging that person through prayer, just kind of getting to know them. Even for us, learning about their salvation. How did they grow up? What's their background? So sometimes that comes out when we're talking to them on day one, but if not on day one, eventually, because we have chapel services every day except Sunday, because Sunday we're encouraging them to go to church. So, but every other day we offer chapel services. They get to go, and I'm sure Laura went to some of the chapel services while she was there.
Laura, what was your faith journey during that time you were there?
Well, I've been saved since I was 15. Well, before that, but I remember 15. But there, I loved going to the chapel services, and I loved a lot of them. They were very encouraging. I remember one specifically, a guy came and he had cards, and he gave them all out. And the verse he gave me, I ended up getting it wrong when I got it tattooed on me, but it was, if you don't stand firm in your faith, you won't stand at all. And it spoke to me at that time, because there was more to it, but it reaffirmed that I was doing the right thing, trying to go forward and trying to get into church more instead of listening to my family. And it showed me I was where I was supposed to be.
It
was very
showed you
encouraging.
where you were supposed to be.
And that I was in the right spot.
Mhm.
Yeah. Many times there are chapel services, they had anointed people. there was so many of them would talk to you specifically and tell you things that there's no way they should know this, and you knew that you were in the right spot. It was awesome.
So would you say that that gentleman handing you that card with the scripture, was that a pivoting point for you?
Yeah, it spoke to my heart. Those moments are moments that you'll never forget, and I got it tattooed on my arm because I wanted to always remember that, because those moments are when God is talking to you.
And what did you do next? What was that next chapter for you after that?
Well, I still struggled for a while after that. I've been in the shelters for probably 10 years, and they helped me with my kids. They've helped me with a lot, and I struggled a lot. So I was, I was with God, but I wasn't doing the right things. But, with their guidance, eventually I got it.
Marcia, I would be
Mhm.
remiss if I didn't mention or at least ask.
Mhm.
So we have some listeners out there,
Mhm.
and they're like, I know someone who is going down this path, or I see it coming for my own family. What are ways that they could reach out?
Well, of course, they can call Rescue Ministries, either in Saginaw or Bay City, and let them know that they're needing shelter. Usually, that's where we start our communication with them. Once we know they need shelter, they come in, and then from there, our staff takes it from there, learning, what the need is. That's what our case managers do. Some individuals come in with no money, no job, nothing. Some have a job, but maybe their utilities are off and they just need that support to get their utilities back on. So it depends on why they're coming in. And case management is the start to find out how we can better serve. Any mom that comes in and has minor children, they are instructed to attend the parenting classes. So that's a big support for them as well.
I know even before we hopped on air, we were talking a little bit about statistics, and I know you were kind of we were looking at it. So, are most of the guests women or men or youth or adults? What does that look like?
Well, the men normally have the larger numbers. But on a day like today, we do have 29 children in shelter between Saginaw and Bay City, and we have 52 women in shelter today. And that's today at both shelters. Saginaw has 35 women in shelter. Good Samaritan has 17. Saginaw has 17 children in shelter, and Good Samaritan has 12. So you think about that, 17 children, well, really 29 children today are homeless in our shelter. That's just our shelter. So, and then we have these women, moms who are, it's cold outside, they're trying to, it's Christmas time. People want to be in their own homes for Christmas. They don't want to be in a shelter. So the stress of how can I get my children out of this predicament? And we've seen so many, just yesterday, if I can share this story real
Yes,
quick.
please do.
We had a mom, I had never seen her before, but I came down for lunch and she was standing in a corner and she was crying. And I said, do you need a Kleenex? And she said, yes. So I found her a Kleenex. So went and got in line. So moms are normally served first for the meals, and children stay back. They're not supposed to be at the window, but she had an infant. So that child was screaming, just being separated from her mom. So my thought is, because I had to get to a meeting, but I'm thinking, okay, I got to do something. So the mom, while she's at the window, I went and grabbed the baby. And actually it was therapy for me too, because I got to hold this
Hold a
baby.
baby, yeah.
But once I quieted that baby, then the mom could focus on getting the meal, because she has to get her and her daughter's meal to bring back to the table. And so it's moments like that that we can make just a small impact. She's crying in the corner. All of a sudden now the baby's crying. So what can we do? It's small things like that that we can do just to encourage them to stay the course even for that next hour, if so.
Yeah. You said for the next hour, and I was instantly thinking that was just one day. That was a part of one day for
Exactly.
you. And that small act that you performed for them, that could have been her entire day. That could have been something that she could have carried on for the rest of her day, if it was positive or negative. There's that really hit me. Wow. There's a lot that is happening to women, moms,
Yeah.
right? Moms carry a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot there. And Laura, you said you're a mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have two beautiful kids. They're everything to me. I have hope and faith, and they are 15 and 14. And they have been at the shelter with me, and they loved it there. That was probably one of the happiest times of our life. Honestly, it was in the Bay City shelter. They still remember it and talk about it.
Wow.
It was very nice.
What was their experience? What are some of the things that they still kind of buzz about?
Like going to the chapels, like, having our own little room, and being around the people like the workers and the ladies there. They were all very helpful, and my kids felt like they were at home. I think they liked it better at the shelter than living at home with my family.
Well, why do you think that? Is it the community?
It's the community, they make you feel like you're at home there. And, during Christmas time and the holidays, they do things that help you feel like they have little Thanksgiving dinners, and, you get presents, and, they make sure that the children feel like there's a home environment. It's not, sometimes you'd think a shelter would be a bad thing, but it's not at all. It is, well, especially the Good Samaritan and the Saginaw Rescue Mission.
So you just said, you mentioned the stigma, like there's a stigma around that, right? So, Marcia, what are we doing to kind of break that stigma?
For us to break the stigma is inviting people in. So we love have volunteers and civic groups and organizations to come in. Just recently, we had high school students come in, and we've had a couple high school groups come in. But when they come in, they get to see the shelter. They get to see how clean it is. They get to see some of the things that go on so that they can tell the community what they experience by visiting the rescue mission. Because of course, you do have some people, nothing's ever going to be good enough. And so those individuals may go out and say negative things, but we want people to know. Another blessing that we have are like the medical professions, the business professionals. They come in, they partner with us. Nutritionists come in, partner with us. They get to come in and see what we're offering homeless guests, and then they go out and tell the community. So that's how we break the stigma.
Okay, so you mentioned volunteers, right? So we only have a couple minutes left until we hit break for a second. But what is a way that if you're a volunteer in the community, you're like, you know what, I think I want to dedicate some energy here, or something, right? What are some of those things, and how can you dedicate your time?
Well, they can go to our website at rescuemidmichigan.org, and we do have a place where you can list that you want to volunteer. Our volunteer coordinator will reach out to you. There's an application you can do online. We have a variety of ways that individuals can volunteer, whether in-house, whether with Impact Designs, or seasonally when we do our events like Hockey for the Homeless.
Hockey for the wow, Hockey for the Homeless. You threw that in on me real quick there. That sounds like fun. So community partners, so there's getting exposure that way, volunteers, and then actually a couple people around the radio station were saying they've gone to take a tour.
Yes,
just as an individual taking a tour.
That. Yes, you can. We have an open door policy. We're supported by the public, and so we have an open door policy where an individual could come and ask, "Hey, is there any way I can take a tour?" And so, we'll take them on a tour and let them see the place for themselves.
I think that's fantastic. We're going to take a quick break here. We have Laura and Marcia here with us from the Rescue Ministries, and we are going to be right back. So I will be here when you come back, and we're going to dive deep into the stories behind the women. Good. I just want to say thank you again for tuning in to this special That's What She Said episode. We have some information for you, and I will have producer Jonathan Dent share that.
Hello, everybody. Jonathan Dent here, the disembodied voice behind the cameras. There's a reason that we have these two wonderful women from Rescue Ministries of Mid-Michigan here today. It is because we are in the midst of the Sharing Hope Radiothon. Now, the reason we're not saying this during the actual show is because the actual show airs Sunday evenings, so we don't want to be telling people about the Radiothon afterwards. But if you're listening to this here on Thursday, December 12th, we are in the middle of the Sharing Hope Radiothon. It's presented by Bronner's Christmas Wonderland, Fisher Contracting, and Mercantile Bank. It's WSGW and all of our Alpha Media local radio stations here in Saginaw. And we're asking for donations from the community to help at the great mission of Rescue Ministries of Mid-Michigan here. We're asking that you help provide one night of hope and care. And remarkably, that's a $30 donation for one night. And it's more than just food and a bed and shelter. It is programming. You heard some of the amazing programming that they have over there at the shelters. If you would be so kind to consider calling 989-755-HOPE. That's the Martin Chiropractic Hope line. I'm going to put it up on the screen here in case you want to take a look there. That's 989-755-4673. We've got a QR code up in the top corner here on the screen where you can help donate. Throughout the day, we have some fantastic community partners that are putting up matching campaigns, and that will continue on through 6 p.m. here on Thursday, December 12th. You can donate online at rescuemidmichigan.com. All of this information is on WSGW.com. Once again, it is the Sharing Hope Radiothon to benefit Rescue Ministries of Mid-Michigan, and we are so happy that we get to have Marcia and Laura on to tell us a little bit more about the great work that's going on there here on That's What She Said. So we're going to take a little bit of a pause here as we get things set up for segment number 2, and Christiana will be back with us after this.
That's What She Said with Christiana Malacara is back. Now let's spill the tea.
Hi, and welcome back to the second segment of That's What She Said on That's What She Said Day. This is my favorite day of the week. My favorite day of the week. One, because I get to meet some really awesome women, and two, I get to wear pink. No, I'm just kidding. Because I get to share it and be here with all of you. So thank you for coming back. I told you guys I was waiting for you. So thanks for coming back to the second part of That's What She Said. And you can always tune in online on Facebook. That's What She Said with Christiana Malacara, or WSGW's Facebook page and YouTube. Both of those channels, plug that in again. And then also on air, on the airwaves, 100.5 and 790. And then on Spotify. How fun is that, right? So we are back with our guests, Marcia from the Rescue Ministries and Laura, who was a former guest. So in this portion, we're gonna dive into and spill the tea on who are we talking to. We know what they did and we know what they're doing, but who is this? So, Marcia, what kind of pushed you to get into this line of work?
Well, when I started at Rescue Ministries, I started in 2000, but in 1992, I came to Michigan to get restoration for my own life because I had been going through a difficult time and struggling with some things. And so I came to Michigan. I was actually referred, and I went through the Adult Teen Challenge program. And after I graduated, I was looking for a job, and I was told about a job opening at Rescue Ministries, and so which was City Rescue Mission then. But I got the job and started working at the shelter. And after going through what I went through and seeing some of the emotional pain that brought me to that point, but also seeing the emotional healing after graduating the Adult Teen Challenge. Once I got at the rescue mission, I'm like, oh my goodness, I see me all over again, everywhere. And it's been I think there was a question, what makes you tick? That's my whole joy, and seeing people be free from emotional pain. So working at Rescue Ministries kind of gave me that chance. At first, it was just being a receptionist at the front desk, getting just to say hello to people. And then it progressed to, a development associate, and now to my final position, which is an executive assistant to our CEO. But what happened in that process, because of my graduating from the Adult Teen Challenge, it was ironic. Well, it wasn't ironic. We know it was a God thing, but our national network encouraged us to partner with our local teen challenges to refer guests who may be struggling, people like Laura, to that program. Well, I got excited because I already know with the
You
Adult Teen
knew the in
Challenge,
and out of it.
yes,
Yeah.
what it did for me. And
Mhm.
so that's been like the icing on the cake. Even as I'm kind of creeping toward retirement, it's
Uh-oh.
just been a joy to talk with women and just share my story so that I can better empower them to maybe make that decision. And so that's why Laura excites me, just seeing, because I know what it took for her to do this and to sacrifice that year. I mean, we're talking no phones, no
It's a year.
TV.
Okay. So,
Yes.
all right. So
The
let me
Adult Teen
pause you there.
Challenge program.
So,
yes.
Adult Teen Challenge. I had a question festering up, but I'm going to
Mhm.
pivot a little. Adult Teen Challenge. What does that entail? What are we talking about then?
Well, it's a separate program from Rescue Ministries, but we're partners. And
Okay.
it is a faith-based program as well. And what they do is just take individuals in who are dealing with life struggles, whether it's addiction, overcoming depression, overcoming loss of life, things of that nature, and help them get back on their feet. Restoration is the key. Emotionally, physically, spiritually, so that they can restore their families, so that they can restore things that were lost in their lives.
And this is a year-long course.
Correct.
And you said
Correct.
without a phone?
Yes, without a phone, without TV. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
A complete
It is a commitment.
detachment but
Yes.
from the world,
Yes.
but you're working internally.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it was such a wonderful thing for Rescue Ministries, our CEO, Dan Streeter, and at the time, the executive director, Tony Johnson at Adult Teen Challenge. And then, of course, both our boards decided this would be a great bridge for our guests. And so it's just been wonderful to watch and see some of the lives change.
And Laura, you went through this program or something similar, correct?
Yeah, I went through it. I just graduated 2 months ago.
And
There.
what did that look like from your perspective now?
Well, that program, I can't even explain what it's done for me, because before this, I didn't think I was ever going to get out of addiction. And, having my two beautiful daughters, I was like, got to my worst, and going through that program, I like you, I don't think anybody that knows me would have ever thought that I would be able to say I've been sober for 14 months and that I don't want to do anything. And actually being able to go to work and work at a job, and my relationships with my mom and dad, my kids, everything has gotten so much better. And like God is just always working big things out for me, and it has changed my life. It really has. And
When you were in that program, what did the day-to-day look like for you?
we do the normal stuff. We get up, we eat breakfast, and then we go to school. Like, it's Christian school, and it's way awesome. It's better than any school. And we learn about Jesus, and after that we do chores. They do a lot of fun stuff. They keep you out in the community going to see Christmas lights, and cutting a tree down for Christmas. It's really like a family. And honestly, if I didn't have my daughters, I'd want to live there forever. They keep you in a safe place where you're just learning to be better people, and to be better people for your fellow people.
This is a big commitment. A year, a big commitment. What was that final push that you're like, okay, all right, Mercy, let's do this?
Because my life was not going anywhere. At first, when I heard about it, I didn't hear the year part. So I was like, it's faith-based. Been praying for this, but then they said the year, but I was already sold on it a week later. So I was like, well, I mean, I wasn't seeing my daughters anyways at that time very often. So what is a year and you would be able to have visits there. And honestly, like, it's taken me time to change because I'm stubborn, but I am seeing now that I'm actually ready to change more, that I'm learning even more just, staying there.
What did this journey that you took look like for your daughters?
My daughters, oh man. My daughters are able to actually see their mom being like their real mom, not, the drug addicted mom that was struggling. They get to see, when I first went there, my daughter Hope told me, I'm not talking anymore until you get sober. And I'm not talking about a little bit of time, but a while. And it God help faster, but now our relationship is so much better. And I'm finally able to be the mom that I'm meant to be. And I can't even explain it because I think that's what I was born to be. It was a mom.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Marcia, let's go back in time.
Mm-hmm.
You went through this program.
Yes.
And then you said you applied for a job and you were the receptionist.
Mm-hmm.
But the women that came in were essentially a mirror of what you used to be.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Was that challenging for you? Was that exciting for you? What were those emotions when that mirrored image was coming in and needed help?
It was humbling, but it was also promising, because I knew if they were bold enough to come through the doors of the rescue mission, that they wanted better. And that's all it takes, is for a person to want better. And if they desire to want better, and they follow the process, there's so much more on the other side. And that's my hope and prayer for every, especially women who have been beaten down, felt like they weren't enough. That's my hope. That's my joy. So whatever I can do, whether it's holding that baby, sitting in a room praying with someone, that's it for me, because everybody deserves that peace and the joy that's promised to us in the Bible. And a lot of people don't think it's attainable, but it really is. And that's what really excited me. It's like, because when you're in, like when we were stuck in it, you don't think it's attainable until you get it. And then you're like, oh my goodness, I want everybody to know they can be free, they can be at peace, they can be happy. Here I am. I worked for the rescue mission 25 years, been at my church for 31 years. I've been married 29 years. All of this because I made the decision. So as these women are coming through, that's my hope. That one decision that you make to move your life forward could turn into so much more.
What was that pivoting point for you personally that you're like, I need to seek services?
It was the death of my mother. It was the death of my mother. I was living in New Jersey. I came here from New Jersey to get help. And it was the death of my mother. And I was just spiraling more and more into my addiction. And so spiraling a year later, after she had died, my family was like, look, either you get yourself together or we're taking your son. And so it was at that moment that I realized, first of all, I can't let anybody have my son. And so I made the decision to talk to someone, and they referred me to the adult teen challenge here, the Mid-Michigan one. And I went in, and like Laura said, you give up everything, but you commit that 1 year and you gain so much more. And so
you left a whole state. You displaced yourself completely.
Yes.
Was that because of the referral, or was that because you needed to get away, or
it was
what was that decision?
That decision was like, I've tried everything else, because I had gone through other programs. So I tried other things the secular way, so to speak. And me being a little girl who grew up in church, and then getting to Adult Teen Challenge, when I got there and it was faith-based, it all made sense. And then, it's probably too much to get into, but there was childhood trauma there. There were emotional deficits there that had to be exposed so that I could know what the root cause of my running to addiction.
Who helped you unpack that?
The Adult Teen Challenge. And specifically, it was a woman named Jenny Defoe. She's a pastor, and she did a intense therapy session with us while we were in Teen Challenge. And it was then that we started to uncover what some of those deep root issues were for me. And since then, I've been on a journey to just help people. I did a whole story about my life. my childhood and what it was like and how that childhood trauma, led me to make those bad decisions, have unhealthy relationships. And so my goal is to let everybody know even if you suffer childhood trauma, resilience is available, especially if you have people that come alongside you and encourage you. Even Laura talking about her children being at the shelter and how they felt being there. That did a lot for them. They were in a toxic situation. They were in a traumatic situation, but at the shelter, they felt safe. They felt like kids again. So those are the things that I see. When I see kids coming through the shelter, I can tell they're scared. But anything that our staff can do to just give that child a hug, like Laura said, Christmas gifts, to just make it feel a little more natural. That's the icing on the cake.
Laura, who was it that in your life, and it doesn't necessarily have to be at the mission, that really invested in you and poured their energy into you?
My dad has definitely done a lot for me. He has been my rock. Miss Marcia here, her and then Katrina, they are at the Adult Teen Challenge. They have helped a lot. Seeing Miss Marcia, she's such a godly woman that like you never see her out of her element. She's always the same person. And having people like that and then them telling you about, what they've gotten out of things, it helped a lot. And them are 3 of my main people that have helped me a lot.
Can we talk about Dad?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me how cool he is.
My dad is awesome. My dad has been through so much, but he's always forgiven me no matter what I've done. He's always been there. He's still there. He's still giving me rides to work. He is still there when my daughter needs a ride right now. He has never he never wanted to kick me out of the house. He did it one time for my own best at the age of like 30 something. But he's always been there, and he always forgives me no matter what I've ever said or did. It's awesome to know that I have a person there like that. My mom is just as awesome. It's just,
yeah.
I relate a lot to my dad.
Earlier in the first segment of the show, you said there was points of your life where you didn't want help. Can you elaborate on that for us?
Well, throughout my life, especially before I had my kids, I didn't care about life. I never had a motivation. Life was a little bit hard in the beginning, and I didn't know how to deal with things. And so I started numbing things. The first time I felt numb, I was like, okay, this is the best thing ever. And instead of ever dealing with my feelings, I always went to numbing things. And I got lost in that really bad.
And you are no longer doing that. You turned a page. If anything, you close one book and you open another.
Yeah. And it is so nice. I never thought there'd be a day where I could think that I'm going to be happy without drugs and alcohol. I didn't think that was possible. And now I'm having fun sitting and watching a movie with my sisters at the house, my, Christ sisters. And I'm having fun just going out doing normal things. And when I get upset, I don't have the same mindset anymore. And that's huge for me because I don't think I was going to be alive much longer if I was to keep where I was at. I literally was at the end.
We're talking about a mindset shift. Okay. In a few words, how would you describe your current mindset?
My current mindset is like, there's nothing that can stop me. God is next to me. Yeah, and he's lifted that me being addicted. I'm addicted to him. I'm focused on, working and getting through every day. And not every day is easy at all, but knowing that he is there and that I have the support system. And even though I'm not at the shelter anymore, I still have the support system. The people at the workers, you can still call them and talk to them. All these people, the support system is very important and has helped me a lot too.
So going through this, it wasn't just a year of assistance. You created, you said sisters, your faith sisters, your family. Marcia, can you relate to that in any way from, not the perspective of working there, but as a guest in the past, is there some relation there to that?
Yes. I tell people all the time, even as adults, we still need a village. They say it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to be an adult. And so having people in your corner, and even though Laura, her and some of the other ladies that I've met through Adult Teen Challenge, you see them, it is a sisterhood, because regardless that I have 32 years clean and sober, and we're sisters because we've both gone through something and we've come out on the other side. So that right there makes you a family. So yeah, that's how I can speak to that, individuals who have like-minded faith, even at the rescue mission, I love the fact that we're a faith-based organization because we can pray with each other. We can encourage each other. We can say Jesus, at work and not have to feel awkward, So just having coworkers who are believers, that helps, So that's how I speak to that.
So this question's for the both of you. Again, if we have someone listening on air or even watching today on Facebook or YouTube, to that specific with the program and then moving out of addiction, what is a piece of advice you would share to her?
I would say, of course, you get the help. Once you've gotten the help, you got to have, like she was saying, you got to have support. You got to keep yourself accountable. You got to remain teachable, because it's so easy to get comfortable and thinking that you're okay with doing some of the old behavior that you had. You have to set those healthy boundaries, because if you don't, one little slip up will have you, and you got to be prepared for life, because even though we've done this, we've been in this cushion, for the year, but when you get out, life is still lifing, so what are you going to do if you have a loss of a loved one? What are you going to do if you have an encounter where you lose your job? So you got to have a safe, supportive group around you that can help you stay accountable as well as support you through it.
How can you develop that safe, accountable group around you?
For me, it was my church family, because when I moved here, I didn't have any family. So for me, it was going to my church, and my pastor's wife became my mentor. And to this day, she still is, And so for me, that's what it was for me, to have a sisterhood, people I can be accountable to. If they see me missing, if they see me off my square a little bit, they can say, girl, you all right?
Yeah.
So I think that's important, especially for us women, because we kind of suppress our emotions and our feelings.
Why do you think that is?
Because we carry the world on our shoulders, because we're moms. We got to take care of the kids. The kids got to see us strong. The husband has to see us strong. Everybody has to see us strong. So we tend to keep pushing, and then we forget, okay, what are we doing for us? And we got to take care of us. And sometimes sisterhood is that. For me, shopping always helps. Retail therapy is always a good place for me.
I appreciate you sharing that tip with us, Marcia. So, Laura, for you, what is something that you do for yourself to rejuvenate you?
Either read my Bible, talk to my kids, praying. I just being around people and talking with people. So I was really happy to get back to work. It's like another family there.
So you enjoy talking to people, but not in front of a microphone.
It makes me really scared. And I'm a person that likes to ramble, so I gotta watch myself, because I can.
Well, then you've met your match. We can ramble off air. So let's talk in the last few minutes here. Let's talk about how and what's next. How do you pour all of this faith and encouragement? How are you pouring that into the woman next to you? How are you doing that?
I think, Laura, and thank you for your kind words, but I think being consistent, I didn't realize that's the way she saw me, but being consistent in your walk, I think that's helpful to other women. They just need to know, they can call on you, that you're not going to judge them. So I think that's the key to empowering women. Be consistent, be there. If you say you're going to be there for them.
I like that. Yeah. Laura, I'm going to ask you the same question. How is it that you're pouring all this love and energy of empowerment specifically into your daughters?
I am just teaching them what I've been taught and the principles I've learned at Teen Challenge, and hoping that they will pick up on it. They're a lot like me. So, yeah.
I think that's great. I think that's great that you both are on this journey together, even though your stories didn't start out the same. You're on the journey together. So, Laura, what's next? Like, what is an ambition that you have?
Well, I'm just now starting to have ambition, really right now it is doing the simple things. It is talking to my sisters at where I'm at and making sure that they know that to keep going, because at the end of this and even more after that, it's only going to get better. It's just being kind to people and loving people and building them up and not letting them be tore down.
And with a minute and a half left in our show, Marcia, what is one sentence of advice that you would pass along to a woman who's listening today?
I would say to take care of yourself. It's okay to not be okay. You got to be willing to open up about whatever it is that's been troubling you, because I think so many women have been carrying stuff from childhood that they've suppressed. And I think once you just get it out to someone, that will help you start that healing process.
Laura, do you have maybe a few words to pass along to someone who may have walked in your footsteps?
Reach out and get the help, and always look for God.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much, both of you, coming on air. I really appreciate it. So it's okay to not be okay, and reach out when you need it. Thank you so much for tuning in to an episode of That's What She Said, and we will see you next week.
Hi there, everybody. Jonathan Dent here. One more time reminding you about the Sharing Hope Radiothon presented by Bronner's Christmas Wonderland, Fisher Contracting, and Mercantile Bank. If you can, please, please, please call that Martin Chiropractic Hope line, 989-755-HOPE. It means a lot. It does a lot. We hear year after year as we're doing this radiothon here during the holiday season that it helps a lot of people, and we're asking for you to help out with one night of hope and care. You've heard some remarkable stories. If you've been listening to WSGW today, you've heard some remarkable stories here on That's What She Said. And we just want to thank Marcia and Laura one more time for coming on here today and sharing their stories and sharing just how important Rescue Ministries is here in the Great Lakes Bay region to so many people. So one more time, if you're able to, please call 989-755-4673. You can go online to rescuemidmichigan.com. All of this information and more is available at wsgw.com. Find the Radiothon box right there. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll talk to you next week.